High-grade Gundam Age-3 Orbital. Hey again, Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and I'm here to wrap up my review of the high-grade Age-3 Orbital. That's it transformed there with the advanced grade in MS mode. This was Kio's first lead Gundam before, and its third wear, but now it's time to take a look at the good and the bad so that you can make a call whether you want to pick this up for your own collection. To list some of the negatives, I might as well keep them in G-Viper form because I'd probably say that this is probably going to be the biggest negative of them all. The transformation is definitely underwhelming because, as you saw, all you have to do is just, you don't even need to take the limbs off really, except for the chest to replace that one part, because all you're going to do is bend the legs 90 degrees and just bend the elbows up, and after you've twisted the wrists, there's absolutely nothing else to do with this, and it's going to look, it's got a lot of kibble on it, so it is sort of going to hide the fact that it's a Gundam body, and that kibble actually can be a little bit of a negative for the actual Gundam itself in MS mode, as it's got 8 things just projecting backwards there. But I'd say that the G-Viper is definitely not as good as the Normal's transformation. Probably I wonder how the Fortress is going to stack up compared to it. So on to the negatives of the MS itself. Well, first of all, when you take a look at the legs, I think they are going to come across as just a little bit plain, and that's only if you want to think and compare them to the Double Zeta, where we've even seen with the HGUC just how much color it's got in there. Here it's going to have a little bit of color, but they're going to be provided in the form of gray seals there and yellow seals on the front, so definitely not all that spectacular. And throughout there was a whole plate of yellow, which was fantastic, but it's just a little bit disappointing that there is still going to be 6 yellow seals throughout. Would have been nice if they could have gone all plastic with that. And speaking of which, when you're taking a look at the sticker sheet, you'll just see that there's a lot of details that are going to be provided here. You'd imagine that the Master Grade is going to do a better job of that. Getting the black parts there on the shoulders, the yellow hopefully is all going to be plastic. The bottom of the feet should all be gray on a Master Grade, and all these little black details, at least they're including them though, but a Gundam marker can also do the same job. And you can just see that this guy is going to have some color apps, but it is at least going to take some marker effort, or at least putting on all the seals on your part, which is not really too much to ask. One thing that would be nice though is that Bandai's giving you this nice sheet, lots of silver on there. I just cut out my own part that you can put under the clear thing, which Bandai is kind enough to provide on the multicolored A plate. In terms of the cockpit for the core fighter, would be nice if they're just going to provide you with something like that. That little bit of reflective surface underneath these clear parts, whether they're going to be UE suits blasting out of a chest cannon or anything like that. Just to have something underneath it will show it off a lot more. Which means, I guess, the only real complaint that I can make about this, and I really don't think it's all that feasible anyway, so it's hardly worth mentioning, except for the fact that I was so impressed with the advanced grade, because when you get it, you're going to be getting some cool gray little anklets there, that when you attach on, you're going to get the advanced grade up in the air. This is the first kit and the only one that's going to provide that. With the high grade, just because of the fact that you're going to actually have moving legs, whereas this one has 0 mobility unless you're talking about rotating the arms up and down. So this one, you can imagine that you'd have weight issues and he would collapse all over the place. It is a plus that they're going to give you the action base and have that gray part come out in the middle. So if you want to put him up aerial, well, he is going to have to be on a base as opposed to just on their tippy toes. That's really the only advantage that the advanced grade has over this kit. But you may have noticed that I was really trying to stretch to even find any negatives at all for this kit. Starting at the beginning from the unbox, you're going to see so many colors and so many cool poses all around the box and in the instruction manual. The build itself is just very exciting because you're going to have so many new things to do. The H3's chest and head and the core fighter are going to have tons of little intricate details for a high-grade kit that it doesn't feel repetitive at all. Of course, haven't done the Fortress in between. But then to build the limbs by themselves are worth the price of admission. It's the kind of thing gauging builders sold you limbs, well, I would buy the limbs just here in high grade. Putting the legs together is great, putting the arms together is great, the way the thrusters are going to go, the small yellow details that you're going to see on here. I already talked about the seals, but overall the fact that they're going to give you that nice understated little bit of color on the very simplistic looking legs, and by simplistic I mean streamlined and futuristic, definitely a good thing. So many colors on the upper body. The blue cuffs I suppose could be red, but you could just go swap those off with another HG Age kit like the H2DB if you wanted to go do that, and otherwise it's just color apps absolutely everywhere. And when you combine that with the fact that he's got tons of play options, you've got the beam sabers that are going to fit well into the forearms. You can have them shooting out this way or actually in hand, or do both if you want. You've got the thrusters that are going to maneuver around all over the place. The waist skirts, even though they're oversized and you think they might get in the way, they tend not to at all. The forearms, you can rotate them. The Sigmasis rifle, a little bit plain, but it's still going to look great in hand, and it's going to draw the eye to the upper body the way it should be and keep the eyes on the colorful parts. again, as it should be. And just those shoulders, you're going to have no issues at all with them. The thrusters at the very beginning I thought might be a little bit prohibitive just because you weren't able to move them all that much. No issues whatsoever, and they're going to be throwing in bonuses like the action base, and you're going to have this part which you can detach when you've got it not or in MS mode. You are going to have this so you don't have to do anything finicky with the chest. You can have the chest just be a proper high-grade MS chest, and at the same time you can still hide the head, which is great when you've got it underneath, and so much better than so many other Gundams that we've seen. Throw in a couple extra manipulators, throw those into the action base when you're not using it, and just the fact that that ankle mechanism by itself is going to look so good. The smooth lines that you've got going there from the top of the knee down to the bottom, where you're still going to have the gray parts accentuated down there in the circular gear. The fact they care enough about the heel or the soles of the feet to put those gray seals on them, even if half of it's going to be covered up by those red flaps back there. The ankle mechanism by itself was worth a few minutes to talk about, and I hope that you're going to have a lot of fun when you put this kit together, if you so choose to, because for me, this has got to be right up there as absolutely one of the highlights of the high-grade age kits. I've got to go back and just try to rack my brains for other high grades and just try to think of which other ones. Of course, you're always going to have a lot of fun putting them together, but I built this sort of removed from its debut in the anime, so it wasn't just the anime, just the pure build, the posing possibilities, outside of the transformation that you can pretty much ignore, everything from value to style. I'd say that this is right up there as one of my favorite high-grade kits of all time. So it's on to the always fun part of future speculation. Well, we've already got an advanced grade for all three of them, and we're getting high grades of all three wares for the Age-3 here. However, the fate of the Age-2 double bullet is just a little bit worrying in terms of 1/100th. Master grades, of course, is the only option with there being no non-grades, and the fact that they skipped the DB and went straight to the more popular Dark Hound, in fact the very popular Dark Hound, just has to make you wonder about the fate more so of the Age-3 Fortress, I'd say, because if I had to guess at the moment, if they're going to make a Dark Hound and not just the Age-2 normal, you'd think that they'd do both the Age-3 normal, that would come out first, and definitely getting the Orbital. But anyway, hopefully you don't have to worry about the thought of us not getting this altogether. We didn't get a mega size model though for the Age-3 normal, so you'd think that it's definitely not going to get an Orbital there. But anyway, everybody, I'm just wondering if there's any other options, because pretty much anything that this kit came out in, I would want to purchase. But as always, that's just my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours down below so that people can check out all the opinions. People have had lots of time to put this together, so why don't you let me know what you thought of the build, the MS design, and everything else. Am I blowing it out of proportion, or for you, is this well up there with the other HGH kits, and how does it stack up to others in the HGUC, HGAW, and HGFC line? Anyway, everybody, as always, thanks for watching. Can't wait to have this, hopefully in Master Grade, hopefully not too late into 2013, and stick around for that and lots more. See you next time, everybody. Bye. And here we have the first ever all Gundam Tiptoe Club.